The only successful Spider-Man couple just took the next big step in their relationship to tie the knot. Tom Holland, he has officially proposed to Zendaya at some point between Christmas and New Year's last year, technically. And the whole internet was just ablaze with support for them. And I thought it was weirdly wholesome that everyone was just finally being positive about something for once. I did not see any haters, no detractors saying this is actually a bad thing because, and they're making up reasons to be jealous. But yeah, I think that they found out because Zendaya appeared on the Golden Globes red carpet with her ring on. Mm-hmm. And people were like, that's in a conspicuous place, and it doesn't seem like it was there before. So they confirmed those rumors, and TMZ reported on it. Sources close to the couple have told TMZ that this happened sometime between Christmas and New Year's in an intimate setting in one of Zendaya's family homes.
One of them?
One of them.
Must be nice.
You know, extended family. I'm sure she's been able to buy all of her extended family houses, which is really nice.
Must be nice.
And they say that Tom didn't make a huge show of the engagement. It wasn't over the top. Instead, very romantic and intimate. The family wasn't there. It was just a moment between Tom and Zendaya. They first started dating in 2021. I didn't know this. They knew each other for many years before ever dating or ever publicly
Well, I mean,
dating.
they're both celebrities, so I guess they ran in the same circles.
But they were on the Spider-Man movie in
2017.
2017, right? So they were just like friends for the longest, and a lot of people prefer it that way.
You know, he became Spider-Man. He had to get Jack to play the role and got his confidence up, and he's like, I don't care if you're 2 inches taller than me. I'm going to ask her out.
Their height difference is weirdly so endearing as well, in my opinion. Because he must just have impeccable riz.
I mean, it helps when you're Spider-Man and you're a well-to-do actor. That
but
helps.
she's also Zendaya too, so like that's why the debate always happens, like who's more famous. But I think that this is a really good sign for the Zoomers. I believe Tom Holland and Zendaya are elder Zoomers, and
he's 28, 27.
So what year would that mean he's born?
I don't know if that would make.
I believe that would mean he's a 1998 baby.
Yeah.
So he is technically Gen Z.
No,
as
that would be
Zendaya.
26 would be 1998.
Really?
Yes.
Or it depends on who you ask, because people say starting in 1996.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying, like, if
but he would be Gen Z.
Yeah.
So they are like the elder Zoomers who are kind of setting the example for what's to come. And I like that they did this seemingly in a more traditional way, where it didn't need to be this showy publicity stunt. And also, TMZ reported that Tom Holland asked Zendaya's dad for permission to propose many months before he actually popped the question, which is surprising to me to hear about someone in this Hollywood industry. Like, I didn't know that any of them still cared about traditions like that or keeping things old-fashioned.
I mean, it's fair to point out that a lot of them say one thing in public and feel a very different way behind the scenes because they have to do what they have to do to remain in the good graces of the industry.
Exactly. Yeah, they kind of say that they believe one thing, but then behave a different way.
Correct.
So don't believe them at their word about what they believe.
So if he takes her last name, does he just become Tom?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's Tom Daya. They just both become Tom Daya. Sources
Don't
close to the
hyphenate.
couple have told TMZ that Zendaya's dad was asked months ago in order to ask for Zendaya's hand in marriage. And it was an important step for Tom, as he is very traditional and felt it was important to secure his blessing first. He accepted, and Zendaya's family is very excited. And Zendaya's family loves Tom and thinks that he is a class act.
Well, of course he asked for permission to marry her.
Another source said that he wanted to propose over the holidays, and he is very adamant about having kids and settling down. So they're ready for the next chapter.
I mean, he did say, like, once I become a dad, I'm not going to act anymore. I'm just going to be a dad. like
Right.
golfing.
He's been talking about this since before the engagement news even came out. In a recent interview with Men's Health, Tom Holland spoke about the future of his career. Mm-hmm. And he said, "When I have kids, you will not see me in movies anymore. Golf and dad, and I will just disappear off the face of the earth."
I'm going to press X to doubt on that one.
We'll have to check in a few years from now after they've had a baby if that's, if you're really going to stop working.
Is the idea here that, like, I guess that's a pretty progressive take. Is she going to...
Well, no, he'll go back to, like, behind the scenes producing stuff as they always do instead of starring
no different.
in things.
It's not like acting is any less or more time consuming than the rest of it. Like, being a producer also requires you to focus on your job and...
But it does allow you more privacy, right?
I suppose. If the idea here is it's about the time, if the idea here is that it's about the privacy and not the time away from the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, do you think that it's a sign of trends shifting more towards old-fashioned practices?
I mean, no, I think these things probably happen every day.
Those things are becoming more fashionable.
Maybe just on the virtue that he's a big name actor. Like I point this out all the time. Go find any long running TV show that you love and go look at some of the lead actors there. And then on IMDb, you can look up on IMDb and you can stalk these actors and look at their it lists who they've been married to. A lot of these actors have been married for 10, 20, 25 years, especially the older ones, right? Like the blue collar side of Hollywood has done this for ages, like long-term relationships and marriages. Not the same thing as somebody in his position. I remember, what's his dude? Not Jerry O'Connell. Chris O'Donnell talked about, like, one of the reasons he liked going to television rather than movies was that it allowed him to settle down and he knew where he was going to be 6 months from now rather than am I going to be in another country filming for some movie, and that it allowed him to take care of his family to go and work on traditional television. I think that there's a lot of that sentiment there. It's just that that's not the stuff that draws headlines. He's the type of person who draws headlines. So now you could make the point that somebody who does draw attention is now showing that they have somewhat traditional views. Maybe it's just because he's British. He's European, right? So
he's more traditional because
maybe that's what it is.
He's British.
He's just proper because he's British.
He cares about propriety.
He is British, right?
Yes. Yeah, you got that right. Yeah. There are some people that I thought were British and they weren't, but he's definitely British. But that's like why I find the conversation about like their work-life balance as celebrities so interesting. Mm-hmm. Because they're going to be a married couple starring in a movie together. Yep. And doing press together. And at some point, doesn't familiarity breed contempt? It was just announced that Christopher Nolan is including them in the cast for his live-action adaptation of The Odyssey.
Did you see the whole discourse going on over the break about people like, you've never heard of The Odyssey?
What do you mean?
Like, people were like,
never heard of The Odyssey?
Well, there was somebody who's like, never heard of it. And then people were like dunking on them because they'd never heard of it.
Well, it's more so a sign of the times than their fault. Yeah. But yeah, you should know about The Odyssey, even if you haven't read it. Yeah. I definitely didn't enjoy reading it.
At the very least, like the culture, it's been culturally referenced in movies and television.
Mm-hmm. But they're, I guess going to make Tom Holland play. Is he really gonna play Odysseus?
I don't know.
I don't know, but they're going to be starring in this movie
playing,
together.
Who's she playing?
Penelope?
Is she?
I don't know. That's his wife.
I don't know I don't know who she's playing. I thought she was playing like somebody else. But the point being, they're going to continue to work together.
Isn't that weird though? Like, why would you want to be on a movie and a press tour with your spouse?
Maybe it's like they've made it work for so long that they don't feel like that there's any reason to stop now. But maybe once they actually get married, that will kind of be like, hey, maybe we don't need to do this. But you could also make the argument then, the flip side of that is like, okay, you have the option to work together, but now you're saying that we shouldn't. So now we're going to spend 6 months apart at a time. I'm going to have to go off on these exotic locations to film movies while you're at home filming Euphoria, or she's going to have to go off to exotic locations while he's at home taking care of the kids. Like, it's kind of, you're caught between a rock and a hard place. There's no good option there.
They also maintain a healthy distance anyway. But they were hating on Ava Mendes for saying that she would prefer not to act anymore, or not to act nearly as often, just because she wants to focus on her kids and being a wife and being a mom. And they were saying she was brainwashed by Ryan Gosling. Like, that's insane. But they do maintain like more of a healthy distance publicly. He said he avoids most non-mandatory public events with the exception of Zendaya's premieres, though he adds that he doesn't walk the carpets with her because it's not my moment, it's her moment, and if we go together, it's about us.
And then that showed a bunch of people can't read because they thought what he was saying was that it becomes about me. Mm-hmm. And so they were like, oh, imagine him thinking he's the main character, when what he's saying is that their relation, whether it's the height difference or just the unique status of their relationship because of when they got together and they act in these movies together, their relationship is a matter of public interest a lot of the time. And when she's on the red carpet, he'd rather the focus be on her. That's good, I guess, for the most part. I mean, I don't know if maybe she should be like, look, we're together and I want to go to these events in public and I don't really care if the focus is on me. I like the idea more that he just says that because he doesn't want to go.
Yeah.
Like he wants to sit at home and drink a beer while he's a non-alcoholic
a
beero.
A zero alcohol beero.
Yeah. Like he wants to stay at home and play video games. So he's like, oh, honey, I want you to get your shine tonight. Go have fun.
And she's like, I love that about you.
And really, he's like, oh, look, I don't care that she's taller than me, but some days I'm just not feeling the most confident. Some days I got to stay home. I'm sorry.
I would also like to add that she got his initial tattooed. People noticed
okay,
that.
that might be the most callback to time traditions of the past.
Now that's old-fashioned.
Like, see, that is the type of thing where now we're so jaded as a society that the average person is going to go, why would you do that? The divorce rate is 50%. Why would you ever do that?
Well, if she were covered in tattoos, it wouldn't be as meaningful, but that's literally the only tattoo that she has. So I guess she thought it was worth it. But
look, who's somebody in the chat mentioned Ava Mendes. She's the one who married Ryan Gosling, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and she's like a producer and stays behind the scenes, but you know, she's like, I got a life at home and we're doing our thing. Problem is, when you do that as a woman, you're then criticized for not being feminist enough.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think maybe what the more interesting part about it is they do actually, me and you've had this discussion a lot about who is the most famous of the two. But I think that me and you have both come to different conclusions. I tend to think he is more famous because he's Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is perhaps the most famous comic book character of all time, maybe next to Batman. And you think that she's more famous because of the modeling and Nickelodeon, or Disney, and all this stuff. And maybe the fact that it's actually up for debate is why it's such an interesting discussion, because you don't actually know who the more famous of the two is, and therefore it makes the dynamics of it interesting.
They're going to try to outcompete each other.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.